Good afternoon, dear students and viewers. Welcome you all to the teleconference class. Myself, Dr. Y. Kumar, Assistant Professor on contract basis in Department of Botany, Dr. BRAOU. Today you are going to learn about Algae General Account. This topic delivered by Department of Botany, and this topic included in UG and PG program. And this topic will also helpful not only academic student and also helpful to the competitive aspirants. And before going to introduce to the expert, I will give a brief explanation about the topic. The topic is Algae General Account. Algae, autotrophic simple plant, and in this they are thallophytic, non-flowering, non-embryophytic and seedless spore producing plants. They can grow any places, water, aquatic and land surface and moisture places and also snow areas, and they can grow as a symbiotic in lichens and also shows parasitic nature due to the parasitic condition. And if you see the thallus structure, the thallus means actually the algal thallus body, vegetative body, there is no root and leaf and stem. It is simple to complex structure, that means simple single cell to the complex multi-cell, single cell motile, non-motile, and during evolution process it has unorganized cells which is called as a cenobium colonial, later systematic organized branched filament, unbranched filament and parachimatous. This is the thallus structure of algae, and any thallus made up of cell which is completely eukaryotic cell components, and it shows the different type of reproduction process, vegetative, asexual and sexual, and it is also useful in many economic importance in many fields, medicinal, algae and medicinal and agriculture and food, biotechnology, they are all. And before introduce subject expert, the small announcement, dear student, please keep the pen and notes with you and keep note down while the class is running, while the class is going on, and you can contact over the phone to the subject expert if you have any doubts. The please contact the contact number, you can contact with 040-236-80456. Once again I repeat, 040-236-80456, and you can contact after 2:40 to 3. Right now I would like to introduce today expert, Professor D.Sc. Rajender Singh sir. So, Joint Director, Commissionerate of Collegiate Education, Government of Telangana. He has published about 100 publication journals, and also he has written more than 50 academic books, and he got a Best Teacher Award and Young Scientist Award. And another expert, another internal expert, Dr. N Ramakrishna sir, Assistant Professor on contract basis and in charge at Department of Botany. Now, the first, Rajender Singh sir going to explain about the algae introduction and algae thallus organization and cell structure. Sir, you can continue.
Good afternoon. The algae are the very important, the first photosynthetic plants in the nature. When you see the plant kingdom has been divided into the plantae cryptogams and as well as the phanerogams. The cryptogams are the non-flowering plants, where the phanerogams are the flowering plants. The cryptogams again divided into the algae, thallophyta, then bryophyta, then pteridophyta, right? The thallophyta, the organisms are that their structure is a thallus. Thallus is nothing but it is a undifferentiated mass. The plant organism is not differentiated with the root, stem and as well as the leaves. It is called as the plant body is called as a thallus. The thallophyta components are having thallus structure. When come to the bryophyta plants are known as the amphibian plants. After the cryptogams, pteridophyta. The pteridophyta plants are known as the botanical snakes. Like where you can see after the amphibians, even in plant kingdom also, we have amphibians. The bryophytes are known as amphibians. Uvayacharalu. Tadi prantal lopala avi untai kabatti. After that we can see it as a pteridophyta. Whereas in phanerogams, we can see the gymnosperms and as well as the angiosperms. The gymnosperms are the important, the flowers are naked flowers where you can see the seedless plants and as well as in the cryptogams where we can see. But whereas in case of the phanerogams, these includes advanced type of the vascular plants which always bears the flowers. These flowers are commonly known as flowering plants, the seed plants. They are divided again into gymnosperms and as well as the angiosperms. Right? Under the thallophyta, the thallus is, already I told you, it is undifferentiated mass. The plant cannot be differentiated. The plant body is known as thallus, which is not differentiated into the root, stem and leaves. You cannot see the roots, stem and as well as the leaves. The plant body, the thallus is also almost all main important. The plants, the thallophyta plants are the non-vascular plants. The vascular system has not been developed and they are the first photosynthetic plants if you can take it into algae. The reproductive organs of the thallophyta, simple, invariable, unicellular, usually not enclosed by the jacket of the sterile cells. They do not bear embryo stage in the life cycle which dependent on the parent generation for the nourishment. They may be chlorophyllous or some of the organisms are the achlorophyllous. We can see in the thallophyta like fungi. The algae are the achlorophyllous plants. They are the photosynthetic plants. They are the first photosynthetic plants in the nature. ఈ సృష్టి లోపల మొట్టమొదటిసారిగా కిరణజన్య సంయోగక్రియ జరుపుకున్నటువంటివి ఆల్గే, శైవలాలు. They are commonly called it as in Telugu శైవలాలు. But whereas in case of the fungi, the fungal organisms are the achlorophyllous organisms. Most of the fungi are the terrestrially growing and as well as wherever the organic matter is available, on such organic matter they are growing as a parasitic and as well as the saprophytic organisms. The algae are the mostly aquatic organisms because they are growing only in the water. Especially some of the algal organisms are growing in the seawater and the other organisms are also growing in the freshwater organisms. But when compared to the differences between the algae and as well as the fungi are the main important components. They are saprophytically they are growing, and in algae you can see, as far as they come to the general characters of the algae are the chlorophyllous and as well as they are bearing the thalloid organisms. The plants may be microscopic or as well as the macroscopic. Suppose if you can see the Kara is a plant, it is a macroscopic. We can see with our naked eye. Mana kantitoni vatini chudavachunu. Majority of the algal organisms are microscopic. We can see with the help of the microscope. Besides of these, some of the organisms are the multicellular and even you can see majority of these because the algae, the name has been derived from the Latin, they are the seaweeds. Algae is nothing but it is a seaweed, samudrapu kalpu mokkalu. The algae means because they are the seaweeds, the study of the algae is called as phycology. శైవలాల గురించి చదివే శాస్త్రాన్ని phycology అంటాం. The algae again they are depending upon the aquatic algae, terrestrial algae, algae of unusual habitats, right? The aquatic algae, suppose if you can see the freshwater algae where you can see in the rivers, pools, ditches, small ponds, lakes, like majority of the freshwater algae are growing in such fresh water. As far as the marine algae is concerned, the algae grow in a saline water. సముద్రపు నీళ్ళ లోపల పెరిగేటటువంటి శైవలాలనే మెరైన్ ఆల్గే అంటాం. అండ్ బికాస్ ఇఫ్ యూ కెన్ సీ ద ఆల్గే ఆర్ గ్రోయింగ్ ఇన్ ది డిఫరెంట్ ఫార్మ్స్ లైక్ phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons, the beautiful picture which you are going to be seeing here, you can see the phytoplanktons, they are because almost all totally on the superficial part of the water you can see such type of the algae. If you can see the other algae like here the benthos type of the algae which are the almost all totally the algae, they are attached to the bottom of the crevices of the rocks and as well as the bottom of the rocks. Such algal organisms are called as a bentophytes, right? సముద్రపు యొక్క నీటి లోపల ఉండేటటువంటి రాళ్లకు కానీ రాళ్ల పగుళ్లకు కానీ ఉండేటటువంటి శైవలాల్ని బెంతోస్ అని అంటాం. Terrestrial algae, the second type of the algae where you can see on the depending upon the habitat. Some algae are the found growing on the terrestrial habitat, moist. Here the aerated soils also you can see the algae, moist rocks also you can see, on logs also you can see, so that they are the very important algal organisms like terrestrial algae where you can see the beautiful photograph which you are going to be seeing here. And some of the terrestrial algal organisms are growing on the other micro and other dead and decay organisms like they are the saprophytes. Some of the algal components where you can see, right? The terrestrial algae where you can see the algae is because of the algae of the unusual habitats, depending upon their habitat is different. Some of them they are growing on the cryptophytic type of the algae, on icebergs you can see, on icebergs, like suppose if you can see the chlamydomonas is the algae which is growing on the ice. Sometimes depending upon the pigments in the chlamydomonas, the ice is like looking like a pink color, green color, like depending upon the colors. The cryptophytic algae are nothing but they are growing on the ice. Okay, right? The algal which components are growing on ice is called as a cryptophytic type of algae. Number 2, if you come to the epiphytic type of the algae are growing on the other organisms, on the other plants they are growing. Suppose if you can see the oodogonium is the one of the beautiful algae where you can see this algae is growing on the other plants like epiphyte. Phyte means plant, epi means on the plant they are growing. Such organisms, such algal components are called as a epiphytic. Rukshopa శైవలాలు. Then some of the algal components are growing on epizoic, on animal surfaces like on fishes and even on the different types of the snails, different types of the animal organisms like cladophora is the one of the very important beautiful algal component which is growing as a epizoic algae, right? Because they are growing cryptophytic, epiphytic, epizoic. Some of the algal components are growing on the inside of the organisms like endozoic algal components. The endozoic algal components are the blue green algae, నీలి ఆకుపచ్చ శైవలాలు. they are growing on the symbiotically, they are growing on the other plants. Nowadays you can see వరి చేల లోపల మనం వేసేటటువంటి నీలి ఆకుపచ్చ శైవలాలు, నాస్టాక్, అనబినా, like these are all the blue green algae are growing endozoically and they are fixing nitrogen, molecular nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere. You can see the beautiful pictures, like where you can see the beautiful pictures are showing, like these are all the right. When you come to the thallus structure of the algae, the thallus is nothing but it is a plant body. The plant body is different where they are having the different components like unicellular forms, colonial forms, filamentous forms, pseudoparenchymatous forms and as well as the parenchymatous forms. Like 5 types of the components where you can see. If you go to the unicellular forms, the unicellular forms are the, here you can see the motile unicellular forms, like you can see the volvox, where you can see it is almost all totally simply we can say the chlamydomonas. Like these are all the motile components where you can see. Non-motile coccoid forms are also going to be seen, such and as well as some of the colonial forms. As just now I told you, the volvox is one of the very important colonial organism where you can see almost all totally the different types of the cell organelles are almost all totally growing in the colonial form. Like the xenobiotically, the colony with a different number of the cells where you can see. Some of the pomelloid organisms are also going to be seen in such components, in such algal substances where you can see the fixed number of cells are being observed, right. They are called as a pomelloid organisms. Then at the same time the dendroid types of the components where you can see, because the tree their structure is like a small tree, okay, like the component looks like a small tree, and as well as some of the rhizopodial type of the algal components where you can see, and these rhizopodial components are also going to be growing. Like some of the components like filamentous forms, again in filamentous forms some of them are the unbranched, some of them are the branched, some are the heterotrichous. Like the unbranched and as well as the branched and heterotrichous type of the components, where you can see the filamentous cells are almost all totally because unbranched type of the, because Eudogonium we do not find any type of the branch, like it is a filamentous, right. Then branched type of the organisms where you can see the 2 types of the branches are seen, the true type, the original branches where you can see, the another one is the false branching like Cladopora. Cladopora is the one of the very prominent algae which is growing in and around it is also going to be almost all false branched type of the component, like pseudo branching where we can see. The heterotrich of the algal organisms are there. Heterotrichous, suppose Ectocarpus is the one of the very important phaeophytic type of the algal component where you can see it is a highly evolved algal component like Ectocarpus. It is comes into the heterotrichous in nature. Like some of the algal components are called as a siphonous forms. Suppose you can see the Wachiria, cenocytic, multicellular, without any septa, okay. In that because multicellular, multinucleus, almost all cenocytic type of the components where we can see the Wachiria, it is one of the very important siphonous forms of the algal forms. Like some of the algal components are there, the pseudoparenchymatous forms are there. The codium is one of the very important algae where you can see the parenchyma is a pseudoparenchymatous type of the algal component. Like where you can see the beautiful pictures here, the unicellular form like Cladophora already I told you. Here you can see the colonial forms are also going to be, because here the volvox and as well as the palmella type of the organisms, and heterotrichous, pseudoparenchymatous, parenchymatous, the Edogonium, you can see the beautiful algal component where it is going to be looking like unbranched type of the algal component like Spirogyra, okay, like these are all the very important, like filamentous type of the forms you are clearly observing, the filamentous types of the Cytonema. It is one of the very important algal freshwater component like the branched forms. Here you can see the different types of the heterotrichous, the heterotrichous pseudoparenchymatous type of the algal components here you are observing. The siphonous forms, already I told you, the Wacheria is one of the very important algal component, and parenchymatous here Ecodium, these are all comes into alva. These are all because in seawater you can see alva is available and it is being used as a food, like the alva is a pseudoparenchymatous type of the sargassum is one of the very important laminaria. Nowadays we are going to be extracting the tincture iodine from the laminaria. It is also going to be growing in the seawater. Like these are all the components like structure. When come to the cell structure of the algae, the cell wall is the very important component, and as well as the besides of that the flagella are there, the whiplash type of the flagella and tinsel type of the flagella, two types of the flagellas are there, and as well as the flagella is again, if you can see the pantonymatic, and as well as the where you can see the besides of the flagella, the plastids are the very important chromatophores. Because of the presence of the chlorophyll in their body, they are synthesizing carbohydrates. Because of the photosynthesis, they are the first photosynthetic plants. You can see the pigments are very important. The pigments where you can see the phycobilins, chlorophylls, carotenoids, and as well as xanthophylls and other components are also going to be important components. Pigment, the chlorophyllus and as well as the photosynthetic components where you can see. Because of that only they are call it as a autotrophs, స్వయం పోషకమైనటువంటి జీవులు. అవి తమ ఆహారాన్ని అవే తయారు చేసుకుంటున్నాయి కాబట్టి స్వయం పోషకమైనటువంటి జీవులు. ఈ రకమైనటువంటి కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఉన్నందువల్ల ముఖ్యంగా అతి ముఖ్యమైనటువంటి కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఏవైతే క్లోరోఫిల్స్ కానీ, జాంతోఫిల్స్ కానీ, కెరోటినాయిడ్స్ కానీ, మరి అదేవిధంగా అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి పిగ్మెంట్స్ ఉన్నందువల్ల we are call it as a autotrophs. Like because here the pyrenoids, these pyrenoids are nothing but they are the starch components. They are preserving, besides of that they are preserving the storage food products. Like suppose if you can see the Floridian starch is one of the very important component reserve food material in the rhodophyceae. Laminarin mannitol is the reserve food material in the cyanophyceae. Chlorophycean starch like this, these are all the some important storage products are there. Like besides of that the Golgi bodies are present, mitochondria are present, vacuoles are present, eye spots are the very important components. Some of the algal components are having the eye spots. They are call it as a stigma because they are moving depending upon the light intensity. The eye spot is going to be helping in the movement of locomotion of the components. Like suppose if you can see the ultrastructure of the prokaryotic, the ultrastructure of the prokaryotic and as well as the eukaryotic cell. Suppose the algae, suppose if you can take the cyanobacteria, it is having the prokaryotic structure. The other algae are the eukaryotic structure, in which suppose the cell structure in algae on the basis of the cell organisms, algal cells are the prokaryotic and as well as the eukaryotic. Just now I told you the cell wall is made up of two layers. The outer layer is call it as a pectic layer with the pectic substances, and as well as the inner layer is call it as a cellulose component, cellulose layer, right. The xanthophyta, the cell wall is made up of pectic substances. In Phaeophyceae, diatoms, suppose nowadays we are going to be extensively using the diatoms in the toothpaste industry. The diatoms are using exclusively. They like these are all the next come to the flagella, the motile vegetative reproductive. They are the important components. Suppose in rhodophycy and cyanophycy you can see the flagella and as well as the thread like structure. Flagella is nothing but it is a thread like structure. Number of flagella are present even in Oedogonium and as well as the Vacheria. These flagella are very important for the locomotion. Like the flagella are two types, pantonymatic. In this type of the masty genus type of the almost all to the flagella are in the two rows they are being arranged, and here you can see the smooth walled flagella and as well as the here you can see the whiplash and as well as the tensile type of the flagella. Okay, if both flagella are same, it is called it as a isoconte. If different types of the flagella, tensile and as well as the whiplash flagella both are present, they are called it as a heteroconte, like isoconte and as well as the heteroclante. The plastids are the chromatophores. Because of the well defined plastids are absent in the cyanophycy. Already I told you the cyanophycy organisms are called it as a cyanobacteria because they are the blue green algae. Okay, right. Here you can see the important components, like suppose if you can see the majority of these chlorophylls and as well as the phycobilins, carotenoids. Phycobilins are the water soluble components and they are again the chlorophylls. In algae you can see chlorophyll A, B, C, D, E and all types of the chlorophylls, and besides of that here you can see the xanthophylls. Xanthophylls are the two types of the algal components are there, and besides of that the carotenoids and as well as the xanthophylls. Like these are all the very important components. The storage, already I told you, the storage is in the form of starch like laminar in mannitol and Floridian starch, cyanobacteria, chlorophysian starch and cyanophysian starch. These are all the other components are there. The main important the components like storage products. The important starch is storage products like because of this phaeophycy, the reserve food material is already I told you the laminarin and mannitol, and chrysophycy, bacillariophycy, xanthophycy, the important leucosins are the very important food products, right. The Golgi bodies are the very important components because where you can see, and besides of that mitochondria in blue green algae almost all totally already I told you they are the prokaryotic in nature. The vacuoles are there, the simple contractile vacuoles and as well as the complex vacuoles, both type of the vacuoles. Like eye spot is one of the very important component which is present in algae. Okay, like it is a photoreceptor organism because it is observing the light. Depending upon the light intensity, the movement is going to be totally organism is moving. The nucleus is one of the very important algal, one of the very important component which is present in the, except in cyanophycy, almost all the other algal components are having the nucleus. Here besides of that the other very important organisms are the, like in the dinoflagellates, the nuclear membrane but not the chromosome component. Besides of that majority of the algal cells are unicellular but cells are multicellular and sinusotic like all the components, right.
Right, sir. Well explanation, sir. They have explained neat and clean explanation as such student standard about habitat and algae introduction, thallus organization and also cell structure, eukaryotic cell structure. Sir, please explain about prokaryote algae cell structure. Yeah.
Beautiful question, because the eukaryotic and as well as the prokaryotic algal components, where already I told you the eukaryotic components are having the prominent nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, all the important cell besides of the nucleus is being totally differentiated with the nucleoplasm and as well as the periplasm like the things. Whereas in prokaryotic like cyanobacteria you can see, in cyanobacteria they are the prokaryotic components in which such type of the components are not being seen, and as well as it is almost all totally mixed with these components.
Thank you, sir. Now Dr. Ramakrishna sir about to explain algae reproduction process.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sir given a very large explanation, sir. So you see, now we are going to discuss about the reproduction system of algae. Sir, already you know very well thallophyta means that is a thallus undifferentiated plant, sir. So there is no proper root system and stem system and all other parts. So in spite of, you see, general when we are looking the flowering plants, there the reproductive organ is a flower. Sir, here this is in non-flowering plants. Sir, how the non-flowering plants are going to reproduction systems? So here no the flower, that's why. So these plants are going to one separate system is there. So generally the reproduction system in algae is three types is there, sir. One, it is in vegetative reproduction system. Second one, that is in asexual reproduction system, and third one, that is in sexual reproduction systems. Sir, vegetative reproduction systems. Vegetative reproduction system means, so here no the proper sexual reproductive organs, not interaction between plus and minus. So just general that body is produced, that body is break down, rest of the portion automatically is produced to the new plant. That's why here you see the vegetative reproduction systems. So generally the vegetative reproduction system are four types is there. One, it is in cell division, second one that is in fragmentations, and third one that is in hormogonia, and fourth one that is in adventitious branches. So now we are going the detail about of what is vegetative reproduction systems. You see here the vegetative reproduction system, cell division, it is a very simplest divisions, simplest method propagations. So it is commonly known as which one, that is of chlamydomonas and diatoms. So here we are looking in cell divisions, means the vegetative parts, tip of the branches, it is produced to a new plant. So when it is a break, automatically rest of the portion is produced to the new plant. So that is of cell division, sir. So and here it is in fragmentations. Fragmentation also, so this is also when the thallus break down, automatically rest of the portion is produced to the new plant. So that is in fragmentation method. And next one, now you see here, this is of in hormogonia. So hormogonia, it is also one type of vegetative reproduction systems. So unfavorable conditions, entire the body coming together formation one special type of the structures. So we call that is hormogonia. So then favorable conditions automatically produce the new plant. So this is in hormogonia. So these type of the section we are looking in only where the cyanophytic algae. So and xanthophyll. So Nostraca and Hanabina also we are looking in this one. So these are all three types of in vegetative reproduction systems. So and next one more is there is a adventitious little root like structures, hair like structures. When the plant body is germinated, when the plant body is produced to some hair like structures, so automatically the hair like structure is produced here. So this hair like structure is germinated to the new plant. So that is adventitious branches. So these are all called in vegetative reproduction systems. So next, so second one, the asexual reproduction systems. Here now you see asexual means here no the interaction between plus and minus. So this plant body is produced to some special type of the structures, special type of the germinators produced to the new plant. So we call that is in asexual reproduction system. So these asexual reproduction system generally, you see this one zoospores, and second that is of aplanospores, and third one akinets and exospores. So four types of asexual reproduction system we are looking in algae. So all these type of spores but structurally different. So when you are looking the structures, so lot of differentiate between their one to second one. That's why so we are giving a special name that is of in zoospores. So first now you see we are going to the detailed explanation of in zoospores. Zoospores. Spores means it is the reproductive organs. That is zoo means male, which contain the flagellus like structures, spores. We call that is in zoospores. So these are all motiles. Motile means it goes to one place to other places where the female reproductive organs, this which contain the flagellus like structures, these structures goes to where the female reproductive organs. So we call that is in zoospores. So here one of the example of in chlamydomonas and ectocorpus. So depending on the spores, so we are looking one or two or three spores also we are looking. So generally usually sometimes we are looking more than 2 to 32. Okay, so we are looking in zoospores, sir. So next one, now you see here this is of in aplanospores. So you see first one that is of in zoospore, second is aplanospores. Aplanospores means here it is in non-motile spores. Non-motile spores means which is not contain the flagellas. So we call that is in aplanospores. So but you see now when you are looking in the thallus like structures, in the thallus one of the section is modified as these type of the structures. So for example, when you are looking in a one thallus, so in just one cell is going to modify, that cell is divided in two parts. So after it is produced the aplanospores. Aplanospores means non-motile spores. So these spores when break the parent body, so automatically it is produced to the new plant, that is in aplanospores. So after next one you see here, this is in achaenids. So these achaenids in also when the unfavorable conditions entire the body coming together and formations one special type of the structures. So above these structures one layer like structure is there, so we call that is in achaenids. So and the favorable conditions automatically it is produced to the new plant, we call that is in achaenids. So here also one more important point here, so when you are looking in the sargassums, so that is of in tetrospores and axospores. So these two types also when the body is produced to the some special type of the spores, so we call that is in tetraspores and axospores. So now you see here this is of an asexual reproduction system, see that is of in zoospores. So second one that is of in aplanospores. So zoospores means which contain the flagellas. So aplanospores is not contain the flagellas. So this is all asexual reproduction systems. So now you see next one, the sexual reproduction systems. So this is simplest and primitive reproduction systems. Here the sexual reproduction system means the male is produced to the male gametes, female is produced to the female gametes. So here generally the sexual reproduction system are three types is there. So one it is in isogamy, second one that is in anisogamy, and the third one that is in oogamy. So first one now you see in isogamy. Isogamy means when the plant are produced to same type of the gametes. So which one is a male, which one is a female, we do not know. So for example, this is a thallus, this is a B thallus. So A thallus is produced to some type of the gametes. So B thallus also produce some type of the gametes. So what happened here, the A thallus sometimes giving the genetic material B, sometimes B is giving to the genetic material from A. So that is in which one is a male, which one is a female, we don't know. So these type of the reproduction systems, so we are looking in isogamy. So almost all isogamy you are looking in all the thallophyte group except in rhodophyceae. So we are not looking that one. So next one that is of in anisogamy. Sir, here anisogamy means, so just we are looking in clearly observing, sir, one is a male reproductive organ, second one that is of in female reproductive organ. Unequal gametes is there. Unequal gametes is there, we call that is in anisogamy. So third one that is in, here it is in oogamy. So here oogamy means it is a little advanced type of sexual reproduction systems. So this is see the male gametes is goes to which contain the flagellas. This is all motiles, male reproductive organs are motiles, is goes to so where the female reproductive organs. So that is of an oogamy systems, means it is an advanced, the female always is in a stable, the female it is only taking the, so it is taking only where the male reproductive organs. So that is of an oogamy type. So here now you see diagram, this is of in sexual reproduction system, sir. So
right, life
yes,
cycles. Sir. Right, sir. Sir, well explanation about sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction and vegetative reproduction. Vegetative by means of vegetative thallus,
yes,
and asexual by means of spores.
Okay.
And sexual reproduction by fusion of male and female gametes.
Yes, yes, sir.
Right, here you said isogamy and anisogamy,
yes, sir,
and oogamy.
Yes,
the
sir.
another process of phenomena, yes, in algae very interesting, that is physiological anisogamy.
Yes, that is most important.
Please
So
explain about it.
Yes, sir. So generally, so it is often first one isogamy, anisogamy, oogamy, three types is there. So and one more important is there. So that is in physiological anisogamy, means gametes are, when we are looking in the gametes, morphological structures are similar. Morphological structures are similar. Generally anisogamy. Anisogamy means So one is a male, second one is a female is there. That is an anisogamy. But here only physiological anisogamy, sir. Sir, morphologically little bit variation is there in two gametes. So that is in physiological anisogamy. Okay, sir?
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now, about economic importance. Algae economic importance, sir. You continue about algae economic importance.
Thank you, Kumar sir. The economic importance of the algae, శైవలాల ఆర్థిక ప్రాముఖ్యత, because they are the first photosynthetic plants in the nature, they are the primary producers, right? Because the algae are the very important components where we can see they are the producers in the ecosystem. The whatever the products which are being totally produced, and they are autotrophic. The algae as a food we are going to be using nowadays. Already I told you the alva is one of the very important algae, and chlorella is one of the important algae, and as well as the spirulina is one of the very important algal components. Like these are all the both fresh and as well as the salt water contains enormous variety of the algal components are constitutively, fundamentally they are going to be linkage with they are the primary link with the biodiversity. Algae are used as a food for the several countries. Already I told you they are having rich proteins, vitamins, minerals, and these are all the very important components where we can see.
Hello.
Hello.
Tell me. Hello.
గుడ్
Ask your
ఆఫ్టర్నూన్. నా పేరు కృష్ణ. ఇది బిఎస్సిలో మేము తెలుగు మీడియం తీసుకున్నాం. బోటనీకి సంబంధించిన ఒక క్వశ్చన్ సార్ నాది.
అడగండి. ఓకే.
ఇప్పుడు ఆల్గే మనకి సర్వహరితం ఉండి సరళ దేహాలు కలిగిన వివిధ నిమ్మ జాతి మొక్కలు సముదాయం అని అంటారు కదా సార్.
Yes.
ఇంకా ఆల్గేకు సంబంధించిన సమాచారం అని కూడా అంటారు. ఇది ఆల్గేలు ఇప్పుడు కిరణజన్య సంయోగ జీవుల సమూహం అని కూడా అంటారు కదా సార్.
అవును.
ఇప్పుడు ఆల్గేలు అంటే ఆటోట్రోపిక్ గా ఉంటాయి, కొన్ని మెక్సోట్రోపిక్ గా కూడా ఉంటాయి కదా సార్. ఆల్గే శక్తిని అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఆల్గే శక్తిని పొందడానికి కిరణజన్య సంయోగ క్రియ మరియు సేంద్రియ కార్బన్ ను ఓస్మోట్రిక్, మైజోట్రిక్ లేదా ఫోటోగ్రఫీ ద్వారా తీసుకుంటాం కదా సార్ మనం ఫోటో అది. ఆల్గే అధ్యయన శాస్త్రాన్ని ఫైటాలజీగా కూడా మనం చెప్పుకుంటాం కదా సార్ ఈ విషయంలో. అంటే ఆల్గేలో సుమారు ఇప్పటికీ అంటే లైక్ ఇది.
హలో, ప్లీజ్ ఆస్క్ డైరెక్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. వి డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఎనఫ్ టైం.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఆల్గేలో ముఖ్యమైన పాత్ర అనేది ఎటువంటి పాత్ర అనేది ఉంటుంది?
ఓకే ఓకే
బాబు. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ ఆల్గే అనేటువంటిది ఫస్ట్ ఫోటోసింథటిక్ చెందినటువంటి యొక్క ఫస్ట్ ల్యాండ్ ప్లాంట్స్ ఇవన్నీ కూడా. సో ఇది ఆల్గే అనేటువంటి మనకు చాలా రకాలుగా అన్నిట్లలో కూడా ఉపయోగపడడం అనేటువంటి జరుగుతుంది.
శైవలాలు
అనేటువంటిది. ఎస్ సార్. ఓకే సార్.
బికాజ్ అవి వాటికి క్లోరోఫిల్ కానీ జాంతోఫిల్స్ కానీ కెరోటినాయిడ్స్ అన్నీ ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి సూర్యరశ్మి ద్వారా కిరణజన్య సంయోగక్రియ జరుపుకొని అనేక రూపాల లోపల ప్రోటీన్స్ కానీ విటమిన్స్ కానీ లిపిడ్స్ కానీ అటువంటి వాటిని అన్నిటినీ అవి ప్రిజర్వ్ చేస్తున్నాయి. కాబట్టి అవి స్వయం పోషకాలు. భగవంతుడు మనకు కూడా ఇవ్వలే. మనకు కూడా ఇస్తే ఎండలో ఒక 10 గంటలు కూర్చుంటుంటే 2-3 గంటల్లో కూర్చుంటే మన బాడీలో కూడా కార్బోహైడ్రేట్స్ తయారవుతుండే, ప్రోటీన్స్ తయారవుతుండే. మనం పరపోషకాలము, జంతువులు పరపోషకాలు, అవి స్వయం పోషకాలు. కాబట్టి శైవలాలు సృష్టి లోపల మొట్టమొదట కిరణజన్య సంయోగక్రియ జరుపుకున్నటువంటి మొక్క జాతులు.
రైట్ సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. యూ కెన్ కంటిన్యూ.
ఎస్ సార్. ఆల్గే యాజ్ ఎ ఫుడ్.
సో ఆల్గే యాజ్ ఎ ఫుడ్, ఆల్రెడీ ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ ది క్లోరోఫిలస్ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ఫియోఫైసీ, సీవీడ్స్, సముద్రపు కలుపు మొక్కలు అంటాము. సపోజ్ లైక్ ఇఫ్ యూ కెన్ సీ అలేరియా, లామినారియా, సార్గాజం, డుర్విలియా, ఇటువంటి అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి మెయిన్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఈరోజు మనం టింక్చర్ అయోడిన్ తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఈ టింక్చర్ అయోడిన్ అనేటువంటిది కూడా మనకు ముఖ్యంగా మనకు లామినారియా, ఎక్టోకార్పస్, కొన్ని రకాలైనటువంటి శైవల జాతుల నుంచి. మరి అదేవిధంగా ఫుడ్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ లైక్ స్పైరులినా. ఈరోజు మనం స్పైరాక్ట్ అనేటువంటివి మందులు దొరుకుతున్నాయి, ముఖ్యంగా ప్రోటీన్ కాంపోనెంట్స్. మెడికల్ షాపుల లోపల కూడా స్పైరాక్ట్ ట్యాబ్లెట్లు దొరుకుతున్నాయి. మరి ఈ స్పైరులినాను వాడి కొన్ని రాష్ట్రాల లోపల విద్యార్థులకు ఈ చెక్కి పట్టి లాంటివి తయారు చేసి అడిషనల్ ఫుడ్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ ఇస్తున్నారు విద్యార్థులకు. ఎందుకంటే ఈ స్పైరులినా అనేటువంటిది ముఖ్యంగా హైలీ ప్రోటీన్ కాంపోనెంట్స్. మరి దాంతోపాటుగా అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి ఈ స్పైరులినా కానీ, ఈడోగోనియం కానీ, కొన్ని స్పీసీస్, కొన్ని జాతుల్ని ఈరోజు వ్యోమగాములు, ముఖ్యంగా స్పేస్లో పోయేటటువంటి శాస్త్రవేత్తలు ఆహార పదార్థాన్ని పేస్ట్ రూపకంగా తయారు చేసుకొని పోతున్నారు. అగారగార అని అంటాం, జున్నుగడ్డి అంటాం. ఈ జున్నుగడ్డి అనేటువంటిది ఈరోజు టిష్యూ కల్చర్లో కానీ, బయోటెక్నాలజీలో కానీ, అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి మీడియంలో ఈరోజు మనకు సూక్ష్మజీవుల యొక్క కల్చర్కి కానీ వాటికి తయారు చేస్తున్నారు.
హలో
హలో
గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్. గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్.
విప్లాస్ ఫ్లాజెల్లా అనగా ఏంటి సార్?
విప్లాస్ ఫ్లాజెల్లా సార్, ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ అబౌట్ విప్లాస్ ఫ్లాజెల్లా.
విప్లాష్ ఫ్లాజెల్లా జనరల్గా ఇక్కడ ఫ్లాజెల్లాస్ అనేటువంటిది నేను ఇందాక డయాగ్రామ్లో చూపించాను. సో ఫ్లాజెల్లాస్ అనేటువంటిది 2 టైప్స్ కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటాయి మనకు. ఫ్లాజెల్లాస్ అనే
టెన్సిల్, విప్లాష్.
ఎస్, టెన్సిల్ ఫ్లాజెల్లాస్ అండ్ విప్లాష్ ఫ్లాజెల్లాస్ అని చెప్పేసి 2 రకాలుగా మనకు కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటాయి. ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడ ఉంది అది? ఒక్క నిమిషం.
మనకు ఓన్లీ
విప్లాష్ విప్లాష్ ఫ్లాజెల్లస్ అంటే ఇక్కడ అపెండేజెస్ అనేటువంటి మనకు కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటాయి. ఇక్కడ
పక్కల
సైడ్ కొంచెం సైడ్ కు మనకు అపెండేజెస్ అనేటువంటిది కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటాయి అన్నట్టు. సో ఆ అపెండేజెస్ కనుక కనిపిస్తే దాన్ని విప్లాష్ ఫ్లాజెల్లాస్ అని చెప్పేసి పిలుస్తూ ఉంటారు. అపెండేజెస్ కనుక లేకుంటే దాన్ని
టెన్సిల్, స్మూత్ గా ఉంటే అది టెన్సిల్
అని చెప్పేసి,
అపెండేజెస్ ఉంటే అది విప్లాష్. 2 టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫ్లాజెల్లాస్. గుడ్ క్వశ్చన్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. సార్ యూ కెన్ కంటిన్యూ.
సో ఈ రకంగా బికాస్ దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ది వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఎకనామికల్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ వేర్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు బి సీయింగ్ ది ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ లైక్ హియర్ యూ కెన్ సీ కెరజినిన్. ఫార్మస్యూటికల్ పరిశ్రమల లోపల బాగా వాడతాం ఈరోజు కెరజినిన్ అనేటువంటిది. టెక్స్టైల్ పరిశ్రమల్లో కానీ, లెదర్ ఇండస్ట్రీలో కానీ, కాస్మెటిక్ ఇండస్ట్రీ, ఈ మేకప్స్, ఇటువంటి వాటి లోపల కూడా ఎక్కువగా ఈ కెరజినిన్ని వాడతాం. ఈ కెరజినిన్ అనేటువంటిది ముఖ్యంగా మనకు శైవలాల నుంచి వచ్చినటువంటిది. ముఖ్యంగా మనకేంటంటే సముద్రపు శైవలాల నుంచి వచ్చినటువంటిది. కెరజినిన్ ఈజ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ది వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాంపోనెంట్. లైక్ డయాటోమిట్, హియర్ యూ కెన్ సీ డయాటమ్స్ అనేటువంటివి ఒక రకమైనటువంటి శైవలాలు. టూత్పేస్ట్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్, ఈ టూత్పేస్ట్ పరిశ్రమల లోపల ఎక్కువగా వాడతాము. లామినారియా అనేటువంటిది ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఆల్ నవే డేస్ యూ ఆర్ యూజింగ్ యాంటీబయాటిక్ మెడిసిన్. ది లామినారియా ఇట్ కమ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ది, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ సీవీడ్, సముద్రపు కలుపు మొక్క, సముద్రం లోపల పెరిగేటటువంటి శైవలము. బికాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎక్స్టెన్సివ్లీ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు బి యూజింగ్ అండ్ because in the medical industry, like some of the, suppose you can see the auxins type of the growth promoters like chlorella, anabina, oscillatoria, laminaria, velonia, fucus. These are all the very important algal components are using they are going to be, we are extracting the auxin is one of the very important type of the phytohormone. వృక్ష హార్మోన్లు కూడా వీటి లోపల ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి వాటి నుండి కూడా ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాం. సివేజ్ ఆఫ్ ది డిస్పోజల్, బికాజ్ మెజారిటీ ఆఫ్ దీస్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఆల్ algal components nowadays we are going to be using as a biological indicators, because where some of the algal components are growing, where such type of the, they are going to be cleaning the pollutants, and as well as almost all such components are also going to be extensively using. In the biological research, algae useful. Majority of these algal components, like suppose you can see the cultivation of chlorella, Schenidesmus, Anasistis. ఈరోజు మనం చేపల చెరువులు ఎట్లా మనం పండిస్తున్నామో ఆల్గాల్ని కూడా సౌత్ ఇండియా లోపల కొన్ని ప్రాంతాల లోపల ముఖ్యంగా ఈ క్లోరెల్లా కానీ, స్పైరులినా కానీ, అనసిస్టిస్ కానీ, ఇటువంటి ఈడోగోనియం లాంటి కాంపోనెంట్స్ మనము పండించి వాటి నుండి వచ్చేటటువంటి బై ప్రోడక్ట్స్ని మెడికల్గా మరి అదేవిధంగా ఫుడ్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్గా ఈరోజు వాడుతూ ఉన్నాము. జనరల్లీ యూ కెన్ సీ ద బ్లూ గ్రీన్ ఆల్గే లైక్ నాస్టాక్, జనరల్గా పూసల దండల మాదిరిగా ఉండేటటువంటిది నాస్టాక్. ఈ నాస్టాక్, దెన్ సైటోనిమా, అనబినా, ఈ ముఖ్యమైనటువంటి 3 ఆల్గాల్ కాంపోనెంట్. దీస్ ఆర్ ది వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఆర్ ఎక్స్టెన్సివ్లీ యూజింగ్ ఫర్ ది హియర్ బ్లూ గ్రీన్ ఆల్గే ఫిక్సింగ్ ద మాలిక్యులర్ నైట్రోజన్.
Hello.
So my question is the plant body of algae.
Okay.
So what is the plant body of algae?
What is the plant body of algae or organization? Only plant body of algae.
Thallus.
Thallus.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a thallus.
Yes.
Thallus means the plant body cannot be differentiated. Root, stem, leaves. You cannot see it. It is undifferentiated mass. Undifferentiated plant body is nothing but it is a thallus. Because of these thallus, they kept under into the thallophyta. Okay? పత్రాలు, కాండము, వేరు అనేటువంటి విభేదనం లేకుండా ఉండేటటువంటి దేహాన్ని, మొక్క దేహాన్ని మనం ఏమంటున్నామంటే థాలస్ అంటున్నాము. సో కాబట్టి శైవలాల యొక్క ప్లాంట్ బాడీ థాలస్ ఆకృతి లోపల ఉంటుంది. రైట్.
Thank you, sir. Continue.
So
Lost number of holy.
here almost all totally nowadays the algae are using as a biofertilizers. Majority in the paddy crops, వరి చేన్ల లోపల కూడా ఈరోజు నాచు మొక్కలు. పురాణ కాలం లోపల మన సాధువులు నాచులు తిని బతికే వాళ్ళు అంటారు అక్కడక్కడ. దానికి కారణం ఏంటంటే ఆ నాచు మొక్కల లోపల ఉండేటటువంటి ప్రోటీన్స్ కానీ, విటమిన్స్ కానీ, కార్బోహైడ్రేట్స్ కానీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ బై ప్రోడక్ట్స్ ఈరోజు హిమాలయాల లోపల ఉండేటటువంటి చెప్తా ఉంటారు అన్నట్టు. సో కాబట్టి దే ఆర్ ది హైలీ రిచ్ ప్రోటీన్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ అనేటువంటి ఉంటాయి. సో కాబట్టి ది ఆల్గే ఆర్ ది రీసెర్చ్ మెటీరియల్స్ ఆర్ ఆల్సో గోయింగ్ టు బి హియర్. You can see the algae are extensively using because as the biological research algae are the very useful and because they are rapidly growing, almost all brief lifespan చాలా తక్కువగా ఉంటుంది within the less period.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Very good
This
afternoon.
is Tanvi from Hyderabad. I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So how is you are talking about algae? How is algae different from fungi?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are the functions of algae, and could you differentiate between the two? We talk about algae, the growth of algae, and the fungal growth.
Yeah.
So could you please differentiate between the two?
Thank you.
sir.
Thank
That
you.
was my question.
Sir will going to explain.
Thank you. Beautiful question. Actually in initial, because of the time, the algae are the photosynthetic components. They are the photosynthetic organisms, whereas the fungi are they are growing on the other, because they don't have the chlorophyllous components, like they don't have the
Achlorophyll plants.
because of these achlorophyllous plants. Yes. Because of the achlorophyllous in nature, they are growing on the other organisms like saprophytically and as well as the parasitically. Okay. Yes. Like they are the decomposers, but whereas algae is the one of the very important component where you can see they are the autotrophic organism, fungi are the heterotrophic organism. Okay. Like algae are the photosynthetic in nature, but fungi are the totally saprophytic and as well as the parasitic in nature.
Okay. Yes,
You can
sir.
continue.
Yes, sir.
Now the sewage disposal is one of the very important component where you can see sewage is a big sanitary hazard causing the epidemics and as well as the mosquito menace. The algae help in the bacterial composition of the sewage by providing the oxygen released during the photosynthesis, right? Because in photosynthesis కిరణజన సంయోగ క్రియ లోపల కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ని మొక్కలు తీసుకొని, గ్రీన్ ప్లాంట్స్ తీసుకొని, మరి అదేవిధంగా మనకి ఈరోజు అతి ముఖ్యమైనటువంటివి ఏంటంటే ఆక్సిజన్ని ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాయి. ఆక్సిజన్తో పాటుగా కార్బోహైడ్రేట్స్ కానీ, విటమిన్స్ కానీ, అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి కాంపోనెంట్స్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ని దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు బి ప్రొడ్యూసింగ్. లైక్ ది ఆల్గే ఆర్ ది వన్ ఆఫ్ ది వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ వేర్ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు బి ఇంక్రీజింగ్ ద biological oxygen and as well as the oxygen being produced by the algae, so that they are simply we can say the algae are also working, acting like as they are ecobalance components. They are maintaining the oxygen and as well as the carbon dioxide ratio in the water.
Thank you, sir. Ramakrishna sir.
Yes, sir.
Explain about the algae life cycles in brief.
Yes. Okay, sir. You see here, life cycles. Life cycle means so one generation to other generations. So how the one generation other generation is coming to, so we are talking about that one, that is in life cycles. So generally the life cycles of algae, it is the 4 types is there. One, it is in haplonautic life cycle, second one is a diplonautic life cycle, and third one that is in haplonautic life cycle. Again it is divided in 2 categories. One, it is isomorphic type, second one that is of heteromorphic type, and fourth one that is in diplobiontic life cycles. So here now you see the first, now we are going to discuss about the haplonautic life cycles. Generally the plant body, sir, one, it is in gametophytic stage, second one that is of in sporophytic stage. So here the sporophyte depending on the gametophyte, sometimes gametophyte depending on the sporophyte, the alternation of generations. So both together we call that is in life cycles. So here the first one that is in haplonautic life cycles. Sir, what is the meaning of in haplonautic life cycles? So now you see here haplonautic means the gametophytic, it is in only haploid life cycles. Haploid life cycles. So these gametophyte is produced to the two gametes. One, it is in, okay, so isogamy, second that is of in anisogamy. After the fertilizations, when the formation is zygote it is in 2n stage, that is in diploid stage. So after meiosis, next it is produce a new plant. So these type of the life cycle, so we call that is in haplonautic life cycles. Similarly, second one, second that is of diplonautic life cycles. So now you see the first one that is in gametophytic stage. So this one is sporophytic stage. Sir, here this sporophytic stage, it is a 2n stage. Okay, so this sporophytic stage, it is produced to the gametangia. Sir, this gametangium is produced to the male gametes and female gametes. So here we are looking in the meiosis. Okay, so male and female together formation, it is in zygote. Sir, this zygote in also 2n stage. Yes, sporophyte it is in 2n stage and zygote it is in 2n stage. So again this zygote is produced to the sporophytic stage. Sir, we call this is in diplonautic life cycles. So here now you see this is in diplohaplonautic life cycles, means gametophytic stage is to n stage is there. So after the completing reproduction system, the zygote is produced to the sporophytic stage. Sporophytic stage, it is, we don't know which one, so that is a n stage or 2n stage. So definitely here it is in sporophyte is a 2n stage. So sir, these type of the life cycle that is in diplohaplonautic life cycle, we call it as an isomorphic life cycles. So next now you see here diplonautic life cycles. So these diplonautic life cycles, yes, this one, diplobiontic life cycles. So now you see here, one it is in male gametophyte, second one that is in female gametophyte. Male is produced to male gametes, female is produced to the female gametes. Okay, so both together formation the, you see now here so these type of the we are looking in where that is of in Polysyphonia. You see after the zygote is not produced to directly plant. So after completing the reproduction system, when the formation is zygote, the zygote is going to some type of the modifications. Okay, so that's why we call this is in diplobiontic life cycle is this. So that's here. So we are looking. So here we are looking four type of the life cycles. So one it is in haplonautic, diplonautic, diplohaplonautic, diplobiontic life cycles. So
thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, Rajender Singh sir, for your valuable explanation to our sake of the student, and thank you, Ramakrishna sir, for your valuable explanation in the sake of the student. Thank you all.